Hello and welcome to another Gmtl videocast. I'm Simon King, the CEO of Gmtl, and I'm here with Michael Burley, the noted historian and commentator. And it's been a while, but we've got a few issues to talk about. So Michael, what can we expect with Brexit then?
Well, I think that the European Union and the UK will agree a deal on Sunday, but then the real fun and games will start when that comes back to the House of Commons, particularly when the vote happens on the 10th or probably 11th of December. And as things stand, I think the government will be defeated in the vote. There are clearly large numbers of Conservative rebels, Brexiteers, the DUP and others who are going to vote this deal down. And although there's talk of Labour being suborned, or some Labour MPs being suborned into voting for it, I don't think that's really going to happen in any numbers.
So the big question then is, what happens after that?
Well, I think that at that point either May will resign and there'll be a rushed emergency leadership contest, as they're calling it. They'll just foist somebody in there because there are so many runners and riders wanting to become Conservative leader that would be a very protracted process. If it happened in the normal way, it would go on for a month or 6 weeks. That's impossible as the clock is ticking down to Brexit. So were May to fight the contest and win, then she will try and go back and negotiate around the margins the deal and bring it back to a second vote. And everybody is assuming that in the time between those two votes, the pound will have been hammered, the stock market will have been hammered, and a sort of American TARP crisis in 2008 effect will take place, and then it will get through. Personally, I'm very sceptical about all of that. I mean, the Labour Party couldn't care less if the pound tanks and the stock market crashes. That's not their business at all, and what they want is an election.
So you think that actually there's a big chance of no deal?
Yes, I think there's a very substantial chance of no deal. And remember, we've got these votes, okay, but then all over Europe there's going to be the usual sort of shutdown over Christmas and the New Year, so that takes effectively 3 weeks out of the entire process. I mean, for some bizarre reason, these people don't think it's sufficiently critical that they might have to work on Christmas Day or Boxing Day. This is a remarkable fact of our political life. And the clock is ticking down, and if they haven't stitched up some arrangements, then we're leaving on the 29th. I mean, the Brexiteers, their ambition, I suppose, is that indeed we head towards the no deal, but everybody in Europe panics so much that they'll be able to sort of just add on a few spatchcocked bilateral arrangements to mitigate the really worst aspects of any crisis, that planes will not fly and all the rest of it, and that lorries will still cross the channel. But let's see. Well, the disgraceful murder of Khashoggi has undoubtedly damaged the image of Saudi Arabia, and in particular of MBS himself. He may think that the coverage, the roof he's been given by Trump and Putin and others will in some way mean business back to normal, but I don't think that's going to be the case, particularly not with the new composition of the House of Representatives in the United States. And they're going to, and indeed certain Republican senators who are very much on the case, and I think they're just going to demand endless investigations of who knew what, who did what, and they're not going to let it go. So that's not good there. In the broader sense, I think Trump and of course Putin have done the world no favours by effectively making state-sanctioned assassination seem almost normative, and that will have a creeping effect. So you see it, for example, in the UAE's sentencing to life imprisonment of Mr. Hedges. There'll just be a steady creeping descent into illegality, and this will impact on the business community because when people find themselves accused of tax evasion or fraud or whatever, or any other sort of violation in some of these countries, they will think they've got the green light to do what they like, because the Western response has been pretty craven.
Yeah. And what about the future of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman? Do you think it's safe?
Well, I think that clearly there's quite a lot of internal dissent and unhappiness about him and the ascendancy he's got, the grip he's got on all the levers of power. But whether those people are in any position to make a move against him in the sense of having the succession changed, I doubt it. And then I don't think that the king has got much time left, and in which case, at that point, MBS becomes king. Unless, of course, there's some sort of move against him, but I can't really see that happening. But on the international stage, I mean, he's undoubtedly damaged goods. I mean, which respectable world leader is going to want to shake hands with him at any global event? Yes, well, I think that we will probably see the cresting of the populist wave of the last few years in the European Parliament elections in 2019. I think they'll probably do quite well, particularly since Matteo Salvini and Viktor Orban have been doing their best to frustrate any sensible measures the EU could take to curtail migration into the EU. They want it to be as the issue to be as hot and bothersome as possible, obviously, because it benefits them. What that will mean will be that the more mainstream parties in the EU Parliament will have to pedal harder to effectively exclude whatever populist blocs emerge in that Parliament, so that'll be more difficult. It'll also mean that the whole process of forming governments is going to be more and more difficult, with protracted negotiations chiefly to exclude populist parties, but failing that, how to bring them in and then how to deal with them when they are in power. But somehow I feel slightly optimistic looking at 2019. There's going to be an unusual valediction for us, in the sense that I think the concerns with identity and culture and the rest of it might actually start to abate, and that we'll get back to much more conventional preoccupations with economic inequality, how the cake's divided up, and particularly, of course, as Industrial Revolution 4.0 cuts a swathe through mainly white-collar workforces, and then we'll be back to much more conventional preoccupations with work rather than race or ethnicity.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael. But I presume you're now heading off to Short Stirling nonetheless.
I could be.
Thank you very much.